Chapter 941. His warm breath blew onto Arissa's face, causing her to blush instantly. She glared at him while still feeling embarrassed. When did this man become such a pervert? Benjamin's lips curled slightly when he saw her rosy cheeks. He held Arissa's hand tightly as they entered the elevator. Have you thought about where to eat? Arissa looked at him. Not yet. I'll ask the children what they want to eat later. Benjamin furrowed his brows. Don't just think about the children. Think about yourself. Arissa was at a loss for words. Of course we should get the children's opinions since we're taking them out to eat. She fixed her eyes on the man's attractive side profile. What would you like to eat? Benjamin arched a brow. He did not expect her to ask him that. It's your treat, so you decide. Arissa chuckled mischievously. Aren't you afraid that I'll take you to a food stall? Benjamin frowned at that. Is she referring to those food stands by the street? Even though he had never eaten there, he had observed that the words, food stall, were written on their banners whenever he passed by. Those places are unsanitary. Let's not go there. But there are also very clean ones with delicious food. We're going to the hotel. Benjamin put his foot down. The mere thought of eating at those stalls made him lose his appetite. Arissa was rendered speechless. He just told me to decide on that. Good day, Mr. and Mrs. Graham. The receptionist greeted them loudly just as they stepped out of the elevator. Arissa was startled. She nodded with a smile. Benjamin, on the other hand, looked pleased as he held Arissa's hand and led her out. You guys are getting off work so early. Kingsley came over, and when he saw the couple coming out holding hands, he cast a teasing glance their way. Yes, Benjamin responded as he opened the car door and let Arissa get in. Do you need something? Nope, I just finished work, so I dropped by for a visit, Kingsley replied with a shrug. Are you two going home now? We're going to pick up the kids from school. After saying that, Benjamin stopped paying attention to his friend. He stooped to enter the vehicle, shut the door, and told the driver to drive. Kingsley's lips twitched as he watched the car speed off. This friend of mine is just. He quickly got into the car and chased after them. Benjamin's driver glanced in the rearview mirror and informed respectfully, Mr. Watts is following us in his car, Mr. Graham. Benjamin furrowed his brows. What does that guy want? Ignore him. Arissa looked at him and asked with a smile, does he need to speak to you about something? Does it look that way to you? Benjamin shot her a glance before looking away and making a call to book a restaurant. Arissa's lips twitched when she heard him making a reservation at a hotel restaurant. Kingsley arrived at the school at the same time as them. I'll go pick them up. He was the first to run to the school gate. Benjamin merely cast a glance at him before leading Arissa to stand at the side. She looked at him in puzzlement. Aren't we going over? Didn't he say he'll pick them up? Let him do it, Benjamin said flatly with a tinge of mystery in his voice. Arissa's eyes flickered before she sneaked a look at him. He can't pick them up, right? Since the last incident, only a few of them could pick up the children. Benjamin's thin lips curved upward slightly into a meaningful smile. Exactly. She appeared to get his meaning and was somewhat speechless. It's better for us to get in the car. Otherwise, Mr. Watts will be able to bring the kids out. If the couple stayed there, the children would definitely come running over as soon as they saw them. That makes sense. Never did Arissa expect Benjamin to really lead her back to the car. What are you doing? We're going for lunch after picking up the kids. It's still early. He checked the time. Let's go to the hospital to visit Grandaunt first. Then we should have got there earlier. Chapter 942. There's no hurry, Benjamin said calmly, not looking the slightest bit anxious. Arissa smiled at him in amusement. He's really waiting to make fun of Kingsley. Sure enough, the school did not allow Kingsley to pick up the children no matter how hard he tried to explain. Sweethearts, explain to the teachers quickly. Don't we know each other very well? The 6 children merely stared at him and refused to cooperate. Mommy said she would come to pick us up. Kingsley swept his gaze over them before turning to point in the direction of the cars. Your parents are here too. But why can't we see them? Gavin and his siblings looked around, but all they could see were cars. If Daddy and Mommy are here, there's no way we can't see them. Kingsley also took a few glances, mystified. Didn't Boss and Arissa get out of the car? Where did they go? I'm sorry, but their parents are indeed here, and they told me to come and bring the children over. Could you kindly let them go? It's not my first time here, and you still don't trust me. Kingsley gave the teachers seductive looks, causing them to blush, but they still stood their ground. I'm sorry, Mr. Watts. No calls have come in asking you to pick them up. Kingsley was utterly frustrated. I've tried my hardest to persuade the teachers to let the kids go, but they won't budge, and the kids also refuse to leave with me. Mr. Watts, didn't you say that our parents are here? Then go and call Mommy over. Despite saying that, Zachary still did not believe him. Why didn't Mommy come over if she's here? All 6 children did not believe Kingsley and regarded him skeptically. Wait here. Kingsley had no choice but to run back and call Benjamin and Arissa. The two were in the car. Arissa chuckled in amusement when she saw Kingsley knocking on the window. Let's get down, she said as she opened the car door. You guys best go there because the teachers won't let me take them. Came Kingsley's anxious voice. Okay. Arissa nodded with a small smile. Seeing Benjamin following her out of the car, Kingsley scrutinized the couple and stated suggestively, were you guys hiding in the car so that you could? You're not even here to pick up your kids. Didn't you say that you'd do it? We're giving you the opportunity. Kingsley was dumbfounded. Why do I have a feeling that Boss did it on purpose? Benjamin and Arissa went over to pick up the children. All 6 of them were overjoyed to see that they had actually come over to pick them up from school. Mommy, Daddy, Mr. Graham, the little ones rushed toward the couple. Arissa embraced them while Benjamin patted their heads. Say goodbye to your teachers. Bye-bye. The 6 children waved goodbye to their teachers sweetly. Arissa and Benjamin, too, greeted the teachers before leading the children to the car. Mommy, we didn't believe it when Mr. Watts said that you and Daddy were here. Why didn't you come over? Gavin looked at Arissa with a bright smile. Your daddy wants to see if Mr. Watts can pick you up. Arissa explained to the children. Similar looks of surprise crossed all their faces. Why? Yeah, why? Kingsley stared at Benjamin. He was also eager to know the reason. Benjamin gave his friend a teasing look. To let him know when to back out. At once, words eluded Kingsley. Arissa chuckled and led the children to the car. Get in, sweethearts. We'll go to visit great-grandaunt. The little ones cheered and climbed into the car one after another. Let's go, Arissa called out to Benjamin and Kingsley before following the children into the car. Benjamin glanced at Kingsley. You can go back now. With that, he got into the car as well. I'm also going to visit MDM. Mary, I haven't visited her for days. Kingsley said. Chapter 943. Benjamin ignored him. He can follow if he wishes. Mr. Watts is following us. The children shouted when they turned to look behind and spotted Kingsley's car. Okay, sit properly now. Arissa gave them a yank to get them to sit straight. How was school today? Mommy, we learned a lot today and played games. All 6 children scrambled to be the first to share about their day. Arissa smiled as she listened to what the kids were saying and occasionally added a comment. Benjamin's lips curled upward slightly as he observed the lively interaction between her and the children. Mr. Graham, why did you come to pick us up from school so early today? Jasper asked curiously while staring at Benjamin. Benjamin replied softly with a tender gaze, Your mommy is treating us to lunch, so I came over with her to pick you all up. Jasper turned around and asked Arissa, Mommy, you're treating us to lunch? Arissa nodded. I'm taking you all out for a meal. Yay. Jessie clapped her hands happily. Benjamin gazed at the adorable little girl before lifting her onto his lap. What would you like to eat? The child's large eyes stared right into his, and her apparent dimples added to her cheeky and cute demeanor. Benjamin gently pinched Jess's cheek. Can I eat whatever I want? She asked. Benjamin could not bear to refuse when he saw the little girl's expectant expression. He nodded. You're so nice, Mr. Graham. I want to eat grilled chicken and a burger. Jess's eyes sparkled as she said that. However, hearing that it was junk food made Benjamin frown. Arissa noticed his expression and was amused. That's what you get for agreeing so quickly. Benjamin stroked his daughter's hair. Jessie, those aren't nutritious. Since you're all still growing, it's not a good idea to eat that. Jessie pouted in disappointment. You promised I can eat anything just now. Benjamin felt a little awkward. I did say that just now. You're breaking your promise. Gavin harumphed in dissatisfaction. In agreement with what he said, the other kids snorted as well. Benjamin cleared his throat. We'll have that after our lunch. All 6 pairs of eyes lit up. That's fine with us. Thank you, Mr. Graham. Jessie happily lifted her head and gave Benjamin a peck on the cheek. Affection filled his eyes instantly. Call me Daddy, he corrected gently. The little girl did not do that. All she did was stare at him and chuckle. Benjamin sighed internally. These kids. Your daddy is taking you to play after lunch, so indulge him a little and call him Daddy. Orissa coaxed her children. Don't take his side, Mommy. We will observe him. As long as he's qualified, we will naturally address him that way. Oliver gave her a mischievous look. Orissa reached out and pinched his nose. You're such a crafty boy. Oliver merely chuckled in response. Tim's eyes shifted from Orissa to his siblings before landing on Benjamin. It seems a bit unfair that they don't call him Daddy. Benjamin met his eyes and cocked his brows as he caressed his head. Can you keep up in class today? Tim answered with reddened cheeks. Yes. Benjamin's thin lips curved upward. Tell me what you've learned. The little boy obediently repeated what he had learned. He recited a text smoothly even though he did not recognize many of those words. Well done, sweetheart. Orissa was pleasantly surprised. She wrapped her arms around him and kissed him on the cheek. Tim's cheeks turned rosy. Thank you, Mommy. Orissa smiled when she saw her son's bashful expression and could not resist kissing him again. Tim blushed and lowered his head, which delighted Orissa. Are you feeling shy, Tim? Zachary tilted his head and moved closer to Tim. Chapter 944. Don't tease your brother. Orissa chastised as she pinched Zachary's ear. He turned to look at her and chuckled dryly in response. The 6 children were the first to run in when they arrived at the hospital. Mommy, Mr. Graham, hurry up. They chorused. Orissa and Benjamin followed behind while reminding the kids loudly, slow down. Don't bump into anyone. I'll go up and watch over them. By then, Kingsley had also arrived. He ran up to them when he saw the children running in. Orissa grinned. Thank you, Mr. Watts. Don't mention it. You two can do whatever you want. Kingsley responded cheerfully before running toward the children. By the time Benjamin and Orissa arrived at the elevator holding hands, Kingsley had already taken the kids upstairs, so they got into a different one. As soon as the elevator door closed, Benjamin pulled Orissa into his arms, sending her crashing into his body. What are you doing? She looked at the man in puzzlement. Benjamin lowered his gaze to stare at her beautiful face and red lips. Then he leaned forward and sealed her lips with his. His face tingled as her fluttering eyelashes brushed his face. All she could breathe in was the man's strong masculine scent, which enveloped her. Orissa's heart raced in an instant. She stared at his handsome features, feeling ripples in her heart. Benjamin only let go of her when he heard the sound of the elevator door opening, but his arms were still around her waist. Orissa leaned on him to catch her breath, inhaling the man's pleasant scent that only made her heart thump faster. Benjamin took in the rosy blush coloring her cheeks, and his eyes darkened. Can we go over now? He stroked her face, gently and affectionately. Embarrassed, she lifted her head to shoot the man a resentful glare. Of course. She was blushing to the tip of her ears. Benjamin's eyes twinkled, and he could not resist pecking the corner of her rosy lips. Don't. Orissa quickly looked around and let out a sigh of relief when she saw no one in sight. Looking at her cautious gestures, Benjamin did not know whether to laugh or cry as he led her out of the elevator. Can you stop acting like we're secret lovers? We're legally married, so nothing we do publicly is illegal. Are you afraid that people will see us? So what if they do? We're not having a secret love affair. Orissa cast a sidelong glance at the man and muttered, I'm not as shameless as you. Hearing that, Benjamin gently raised his eyebrows and wrapped his long arm tightly around her waist. I believe you were quite shameless previously. I can vividly recall you saying that you want to pursue me. Why do you seem to be getting worse at it? The corner of Arissa's lips twitched. Can I deny that? It was you who said you wanted to pursue me. She turned to meet his intense and charming gaze and felt her heart skip a beat. Aren't I doing that now? Benjamin deliberately whispered in her ear. His deep and raspy voice was incredibly enticing, making Arissa's heart beat erratically. Arissa could not help but curl her lips upward. I can't feel it. Suddenly, Benjamin pulled her, spun around, and pinned her against the wall, pressing their bodies firmly together. He positioned one strong arm against the wall behind her head to enclose her in his embrace before lowering his eyes to fix them firmly on hers. Staring at him incredulously, Arissa reminded softly, Didn't you say you can't feel that I'm pursuing you? His lips were lifted slightly to a devilish smirk as he deliberately pressed himself against her. Can you feel it now? You perv, MMPH. Chapter 945. Benjamin sealed her lips with his, stimulating her nerves in the process. His passionate kiss caused her to have difficulty catching her breath. She patted his back and reminded him in an undertone, let go of me. Others will see us. Benjamin turned her face around and kissed her again. Arissa's heart skipped a beat as his intense, masculine presence dominated her senses, causing her mind to go blank. Benjamin wrapped his arm tightly around her waist and pulled her close, preventing her from slumping to the ground. He finally let go of her after he was satisfied. Their hot and humid breaths tangled in the air, rendering the atmosphere ambiguous. He pressed his forehead against hers and gently exhaled in her face, sending a tingling sensation throughout her body. Ripples formed in Arissa's heart as she lowered her head to avoid him. We should go now. Benjamin's gaze darkened as he took in her shy demeanor. Are you sure you want to go now? Do you want to take some time to calm yourself down? Arissa felt self-conscious, looking at the teasing look on his face. I've already composed myself. She pushed him aside and marched toward the ward. Staring at her slender figure from behind, Benjamin straightened his clothes and strode forward to grasp her hand. Aren't you going to wait for me? He turned his face sideways to look at her. You're already here. Is there a need to wait for you? Benjamin gently pinched her face. Arissa's cheeks reddened. He held her hand with their fingers interlaced. Grandaunt will only be delighted if she sees us entering together. Arissa chuckled. When they stepped into the room, they noticed the kids surrounding Mary and having a lot of fun. They stayed there for almost an hour to keep Mary company before going out for their meal. Kingsley wanted to tag along, but Benjamin shot him a stern look. Kingsley widened his eyes in shock and chirped sheepishly, I won't go, so will you stop glaring at me? Sean placed his arm on Kingsley's shoulder. Don't just follow them around and be their third wheel. Benjamin and Arissa are going on a date. Why are you going too? But the kids are joining them, Kingsley muttered. Sean rolled his eyes at him. They are their children. How can you compare yourself to the kids? Kingsley pursed his lips and grinned at Arissa the next second. Arissa, enjoy your date with Benjamin. If you think the kids are a nuisance, contact me anytime. I'll pick them up and bring them away. Arissa was amused. Benjamin glowered at Kingsley one last time before bidding farewell to Mary and left with Arissa and the children. Bye, we're going out to eat. The 6 kids said their goodbyes one after the other and skipped toward the elevator. Arissa kept her eyes trained on her children. Slow down and don't run around. We got it, Mommy. Jessie beamed, revealing the gap formed by her missing front teeth. Her dimples appeared exceptionally adorable. Benjamin glanced at Jessie and said to Arissa, why did you dress up Jessie as a boy? Arissa's eyes gleamed. Isn't there a problem? Jessie lacked courage, so Arissa wanted her to learn from her brothers and do everything like a boy would to build her courage. She's a little girl. Why does she need to dress up like a boy? I still remember seeing her wearing a dress at the entrance previously. She seemed so cute. Let her wear dresses in the future. Hearing his assertive tone, Arissa laughed lightly. She should still wear the same uniform as her brothers when attending school, no. Jess's hair is still short. She doesn't look that good in dresses. Benjamin scowled at her. Aren't you afraid Jessie will behave like a boy when she grows up? Arissa snorted with laughter. That's even better. Perhaps Jessie will become more daring. If she acts like a boy. Benjamin was rendered speechless. Jessie is too timid. I'm trying to help her build her courage, Orissa said. Chapter 946. Benjamin brought Orissa and their 6 children to have lunch. Unexpectedly, Regan was having his meal there as well. He had yet to wrap his mind around the fact that Orissa had gotten married. His eyes glinted when he saw the man with a regal bearing and formidable aura beside her. Is he the mysterious Mr. Graham? At the thought of his lack of shrewdness in offending Orissa, he hastily approached his daughter shamefacedly. Isa. Orissa looked at Regan with a poker face, showing no inclination to entertain him. Isa, I suppose this is Benjamin. You two should come home to have a meal with us when you're free. Regan regarded the couple with an amicable expression. Benjamin held Orissa's hand and didn't even spare Regan a glance. Orissa ignored Regan too. Those people trailing behind Regan shuffled forward to greet Benjamin after realizing who the latter was. Good day, Mr. Graham. Benjamin merely responded with a slight nod. Because of his overly imposing aura, those people didn't dare to act too chummily with him. Instead, they sounded Regan out in an undertone. Mr. York, who is this? Someone was curious about Orissa's identity. Isa is my eldest daughter. Her name is Orissa York. Benjamin is my son-in-law. Regan introduced proudly. He didn't care even though Orissa and Benjamin completely disregarded him. Orissa sneered. Regan, who's your daughter and son-in-law? Quit trying to relate yourself to us. We don't have the slightest connection with you. Those people who came with Regan turned to look at him awkwardly. Unable to stand the embarrassment, Regan coaxed Orissa in a low voice. Isa, I know you're still mad at me. I was wrong for infuriating you previously, but that doesn't change the fact that you're my daughter. It's one thing to be angry at me, but you should avoid spouting statements like this. Others will treat us as mere laughingstock if they hear you. Bring Benjamin home with you to have dinner with us when you have the time. How pretentious. She flashed a mocking smile. We've cut ties long ago. I doubt we'll be able to digest the food at the York residence either. You can quit wasting your effort. She was well aware of his intention. You just want to become acquainted and curry favors with Benjamin, don't you? Orissa added harshly. Regan's face darkened as he felt utterly humiliated. Just then, the 6 kids ran over. Mommy, hurry up. Okay, Orissa answered before striding toward them. Regan widened his eyes in astonishment when he heard the children addressing Orissa as their mother. Noticing their facial features, which resemble Benjamin's, he grew even more shocked. Does that mean Orissa has been with Benjamin for a long time? Stop harassing my wife. Benjamin warned Regan before walking away to catch up with his family. Regan frowned as remorse filled his chest. I would have buttered Orissa up if I had known she knew Benjamin and was in an intimate relationship with him. I shouldn't have helped my mother to scold Orissa at North Stream back then. Mr. York, I have to leave now. Let's meet again next time. Mr. York, I have some unfinished work at my office, so I'll be going now. Realizing Regan's unamiable, perhaps even hostile, relationship with Benjamin, the people planning to have lunch with Regan excused themselves one after the other, skipping the meal altogether. After all, Benjamin did not treat Regan like the latter was his father-in-law when he warned him earlier. If they continued to have their meal with Regan, that would imply their stance of opposing Benjamin, and they didn't have the guts to offend someone like Benjamin. Regan grimaced. I went to so much trouble to invite these people here, yet they all left because of Benjamin's words. He gritted his teeth while staring in the direction Orissa and the others had left. Did Orissa really give birth to the 6 kids? His eyes shone. I'm a granddad. Those 6 children are my grandchildren. He couldn't help but walk toward them but was halted by the bodyguards. Isa is my daughter, Regan hurriedly explained. I'm sorry. Without Mr. Graham's order, we'll never let you pass. The bodyguard blocked Regan's way forward. Regan stayed there for some time and only left after accepting the fact that he couldn't get in. Chapter 947. Mommy. All 6 children stared at Orissa worriedly. Right then, Orissa wore a grim look on her face, looking all doom and gloom. Only when she met their concerned gazes did she snap back to her senses. Quickly schooling her features, she put on a smile, although it looked a touch stiff. Let's go in. The sextuplets studied her for a moment before they took her hands. The warmth from their soft palms traveled to her cold hands, suffusing her with a warmth that penetrated into the depths of her heart. She flashed them a grateful smile. What's so great about those people? There's no need for me to bother about those who don't give a fig about me. I only have to concern myself with those who care about me. In the next heartbeat, a broad and solid chest plastered against her back. She glanced over her shoulder, smiling when her eyes met Benjamin's dark ones. Draping an arm around her shoulder, Benjamin murmured, "Don't smile if you don't feel like it. It looks awful." That promptly rendered Orissa speechless. The children looked at Benjamin in disapproval. "Don't you know how to console others, Mr. Graham? Mommy needs some comfort now." Benjamin quirked an eyebrow and pinned his eyes on the children. "No words can compare to my embrace." PFF'd. Their conversation had Orissa burst into giggles. Benjamin's eyes twinkled, and the corners of his mouth lifted. He led them all to the couch and handed the menu to the children after taking it from the server. "Take a look and decide what you'd all like to eat. Then, order it yourselves." The children crowded around Orissa and clamored enthusiastically, "Let's look together, Mommy." "Sure." Orissa agreed smilingly before shifting her gaze to Benjamin. Holding his unfathomable gaze, she teased, "Is it going to be your treat or mine?" "You shall foot the bill later," Benjamin replied placidly, sitting from across from them and staring at her and the children intently. "Can we order anything at all, Mommy?" Oliver's sudden voice drew Orissa's attention back. She looked down at him and nodded. "Just order whatever you want to eat. It's my treat." "Hee hee, you're so generous today, Mommy," Jasper complimented. Orissa was mortified. She sensed Benjamin's gaze but was too embarrassed to look at him. She merely kept her head lowered and helped the children while they placed their orders. "Just order anything you'd like to eat, sweethearts. Don't stand on ceremony with me." "Okay." All 6 children were thrilled to the core. Even Tim didn't hold back, ordering whatever was to his liking. As Benjamin gazed at them and listened to their dulcet voices while sitting across from them, the curve of his lips persisted. Just then, a bodyguard came in and whispered in his ear, "Mr. Graham, Regan hasn't left and is still downstairs." When Benjamin heard that, his eyes glinted sharply. "Keep a close eye on him." "Understood." Thereafter, the bodyguard left. Orissa lifted her head and looked over. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Hurry up and order. I'm hungry." Benjamin's thin lips parted, his words domineering as he was used to giving orders. "Are you not ordering? I'll eat whatever you guys eat." In other words, Benjamin entrusted them with the task of ordering food. Rolling her eyes, Orissa quipped, "Aren't you afraid that the food we order isn't your cup of tea?" Benjamin looked into her eyes, seemingly penetrating into the deepest recesses of her soul. Orissa's heart skipped several beats. She held his eyes for a few seconds before she turned evasive and averted her gaze. In the end, she still ordered him a few dishes he liked. The restaurant's service was exceedingly fast. She took the children to the restroom, and when they came out after washing their hands, the server had already started serving the food. "Come here," Benjamin called out to them upon catching sight of them. He was already seated at the dining table. Over the moon, the sextuplets sprinted over and climbed onto the chairs. "Wow, how fragrant. The food looks delicious." Sprawling on the dining table, they inhaled deeply a few times. "Let's eat." Benjamin swept a gaze over them before he moved his gaze to Orissa. He pulled out a chair for her. "Sit here." Chapter 948. Orissa eyed Benjamin, who was acting all high-handed. She hesitated for a while before walking over to him. If she were to go and sit on the other side, he'd definitely be displeased. Taking all that in, the 6 children chortled discreetly. "Can't you be apart from Mommy for even a second, Daddy?" Gavin poked fun at his father. His eyes lighting up, Tim likewise fixated his gaze on Benjamin. Zachary, Oliver, Jasper, and Jesse also stared at the man unblinkingly in curiosity. "No," Benjamin answered. Orissa was startled, the corners of her mouth twitching when she glimpsed his calm and unruffled expression. "Hurry up and sit down to eat. We're all waiting for you." Benjamin shot a look at her. Orissa sat down smilingly. "Let's eat, sweethearts." "Okay." Beside themselves with joy, The children picked up their forks and started eating. Okay. At the same time, the voice of the man beside her drifted over. Orissa felt the tips of her ears burning. I was talking to the kids. Why on earth did he butt in? She turned to throw him a glare, only to meet his eyes. They were scorching to the point that they could almost reduce her to ashes. Her face flaming, she glowered at him. Benjamin devilishly quirked a brow and leaned closer to her. Am I not your sweetheart? Orissa's heart started hammering wildly, and she blushed to the tip of her ears. I was talking to the kids. She hissed. I wasn't talking to him. Who cares about him? He wants me to call him sweetheart. Why doesn't he do so first? In the next moment, Benjamin's gaze darkened. How about I call you such instead, sweetheart? Orissa's heart pounded like a jackhammer, the man's teasing robbing her of her composure. Who told you to call me sweetheart? A touch of guilt lingered within her, for she hadn't expected him to see right through her just when that thought occurred to her. Gah, how embarrassing. Benjamin's lips quirked up. When Orissa noticed that the children were looking in their direction, she chastised him in a low voice, Do you still want to eat? Of course, Benjamin replied with a smirk. Nevertheless, his smoldering gaze remained glued to her bright red face, the heat in them making things turn suggestive. Orissa's heart fluttered. She felt as though the man was hinting at something else, and her mind inexorably went into the gutter. Twisting a fraction to the side, she pretended to take food for the children and ignored him altogether. Eat more, sweethearts. She took some food for each of them before she started eating. Benjamin was disgruntled. Have you forgotten something? Huh? Orissa regarded him in puzzlement. Benjamin looked displeased. What have I forgotten? Orissa appeared all innocent. You forgot to take food for your husband. Benjamin clenched his jaw. Orissa was momentarily stunned. Mirth bubbled within her, and she rubbed her nose. She dodged his sharp gaze, but still, she lifted her fork and took some food for him. Dig in, Graham. A smile crinkled the corners of her eyes. Despite finding her smile a tad fake, Benjamin felt much better. He took the food with his fork and placed it into his mouth. He was still as elegant and dignified when he ate, his flawless features mesmerizing to the point that she couldn't take her eyes off him. Unknowingly, she fell into a trance while staring at him. Benjamin took in the sight of her enthralled gaze and was filled with pride. Saying nothing, he continued eating, allowing her to have her fill of him. Sometime later, Orissa blinked. Noticing the curve of the man's lips, she felt somewhat mortified. The food continued being served, one after another. Next, Benjamin took some food for her and the children. As he watched them eat, he naturally did the same. Other than the unfortunate incident of bumping into Regan, they all enjoyed the meal. Orissa footed the bill before going to the amusement park with Benjamin and the children. Benjamin had given his promise to the sextuplets previously, but he was only putting his word into action that day. The eyes of all 6 children went wide in excitement the instant they laid eyes on the incredible view in front of them. Chapter 949. How beautiful! Jessie jumped up and down ecstatically. Mr. Graham really brought us here to play. Jasper was also delighted, his eyes riveted on the bright lights of the amusement park. Unblinkingly, Tim exclaimed, I've seen this on television. Orissa and Benjamin were overwhelmed with anguish when they heard that. Orissa stroked his head. We'll come here often to have fun in the future. Yay! Tim grinned from ear to ear. Turning around, Gavin said to him, It's even more beautiful inside, Tim. Let's go in. Then he proceeded to take his younger brother's hand. Sure. In 7th heaven, Tim bobbed his head and reached out to grasp Zachary's hand. Zachary glanced at his 2 brothers before clutching Oliver's hand. Let's all hold hands. There are many people inside. Otherwise, we'll easily get lost. Oliver quickly grabbed Jasper's hand, whereas Jasper seized hold of Jess's hand. Hand in hand, all 6 of the siblings gazed up at Orissa and Benjamin with eagerness written all over their faces. Mommy, Mr. Graham, let's go in. Okay. Walking to the one end of the line, Orissa took Gavin's hand before motioning at Benjamin. Go over to Jess's side. They had many children with them, so it was easy for one to get lost if they neglected to keep a close eye on them. Benjamin eyed her for a moment before clutching Jess's hand. The sensation of her father's massive hand around her petite one felt different from her mother's soft one, and a strange feeling surged within Jessie. Her eyes lit up, and she was as happy as a clam. She stole a peek at Benjamin. At the same time, Benjamin dipped his eyes and looked at his daughter. He tightened his grip on the soft hand in his. "Follow closely, everyone," Orissa instructed, reminding the children to stay together at all times. "Got it, Mommy," Zachary answered loudly. "I'm in the middle, so I'll keep an eye on the others. Even if we get lost, Mommy, it doesn't matter. We all have phones with us," Jasper said with a snicker. Orissa smacked him on the head. "Do you still remember what happened at the airport when we returned to the country? You wandered off. Yet, you have the nerve to say that it doesn't matter even if you get lost." Jasper stuck his tongue out. "You should be thanking me, Mommy. If I hadn't been taken away by Mr. Graham's bodyguards, we might not have found Gavin even now." At that, Orissa was torn between amusement and exasperation. If so, I should also thank Gavin, right? If he hadn't run off, the entire misunderstanding wouldn't have existed. Following that, Gavin chortled. "Even if you hadn't switched places with me, Jasper, perhaps Mommy would have discovered me in no time. Mommy has been working at Daddy's company, so there would have been plenty of opportunities to meet me. No matter how fast, it couldn't be compared with us swapping places." Jasper crowed, curling his lips. Chuckling, Orissa interjected, "It was all a coincidence. It's still best not to get lost, lest you bump into someone with malicious intentions. If some criminals were to kidnap any one of them, it'd be difficult to find them." "Don't worry, Mommy, we'll be careful," Oliver promised in consolation, aware that she still had some leftover fear from the incident back then. "Yeah, we've all got to be careful. Don't run off when we're outside," Orissa warned once more. Right then, Benjamin shot her a reassuring look. "The bodyguards are following us, so we'll be fine here. What would you guys like to play?" "The roller coaster," the children shrieked in unison. Benjamin regarded them dubiously, but still, he relented. "All right." Tim had never been to the amusement park. He found everything intriguing. "Let's go for a ride on the roller coaster." Smiling, Orissa led the way in front and brought them over. Benjamin, on the other hand, took up the rear. Both the adults and 6 adorable children had striking looks, attracting much attention. Some couldn't resist raising their phones to snap a photo, but they were stopped from doing so by the bodyguards a near distance away. Orissa and Benjamin took care of 2 children each. Gavin and Zachary tactfully allowed their brothers and sister to be with their parents while they went with the bodyguards. After all, they couldn't take a turn on the rides without the accompaniment of an adult. "Don't be afraid, Mommy." Jessie grasped Orissa's hand. Chapter 950. Orissa looked at Jessie in amusement. "I'm not afraid. Are you?" Immediately, Jessie shook her head. "I'm not afraid either." Eyeing Orissa, Jasper flashed her a smile. "If you're scared later, just hold my hand, Mommy." The corners of Orissa's mouth twitched. Meanwhile, Benjamin was with Tim and Oliver. They all looked calm and unruffled, with the exception of Benjamin, who sat stiffly in his seat. He had a tall and muscular physique, but the seat was a bit too small, which made him feel uncomfortable. "Are you too scared?" Nonetheless, Benjamin still put that question forth to the boys. Tim and Oliver shook their heads. "I'm not scared." Oliver was excited beyond words. Tim, on the other hand, had never been on a roller coaster, but it had seemed fun when he watched others taking the ride on the television. Finding it interesting, he likewise shook his head. "Nope." Benjamin patted them both on the heads. Subsequently, he glanced over his shoulder at Gavin and Zachary behind him. "Are you both afraid?" "Of course not," Zachary said proudly. Gavin was grinning so widely that his eyes were mere slits. He was thrilled, for it was his first time riding the roller coaster with his parents. In the past, he had no interest in riding the roller coaster, but his parents and siblings were with him then. When everyone rode together, it became meaningful and enjoyable. "We're not scared, Daddy. Are you?" Gavin deliberately asked. Benjamin snorted softly. "Sit tight. Ha, I merely find this too childish. I'm not even fearful when I pilot a plane and hover in the sky. Such a trivial ride is nothing. He tapped Orissa on the shoulder. When she turned around, he asked, have you ridden a roller coaster before? Orissa nodded. Yes, she had been on a roller coaster several times, not only before she had the children but also a few times with the children later. Are you scared? Benjamin fixated his eyes on her. Orissa shook her head. Nope, it's quite fun. She then studied him for a while. Have you been on a roller coaster? Benjamin pursed his lips, appearing a touch unsettled. No. At once, Orissa's eyes darted to the side, mirth dancing distinctly in them. She wanted to laugh, but she didn't dare do so. In that case, you can experience it today with the kids. Yeah, Benjamin swept a gaze over her. At that precise moment, Tim tugged on the hem of Benjamin's shirt. I've never ridden on a roller coaster either, Mr. Graham. Caressing his head, Benjamin said gently, then, let's look forward to it together. Okay. A smile adorned Tim's face, and his eyes shone brightly. Jasper, Jesse, are you afraid? Benjamin proceeded to ask the other two children. Upon hearing that, Orissa laughed. They're exhilarated riding the roller coaster, not afraid in the least. They all settled in their seats. Only when the safety check had been conducted did the staff press the button to activate the ride. The roller coaster gradually accelerated, climbing to the top before zipping down. Ah! Orissa shouted out loud. The children also screamed in excitement. However, Tim jumped in fright. Don't be afraid. Hugging him tightly, Benjamin murmured words of reassurance in Tim's ear, although he had no idea whether the latter could hear him. After that momentary flash of fear, Tim became excited, and he started shouting in exhilaration. The overlapping screams brimmed with euphoria. At the sight of Orissa and the children enjoying themselves, Benjamin flashed a faint smile. As the children weren't satisfied with a single ride, Orissa and Benjamin rode the roller coaster with them again before moving on to other rides. Within one night, they went for all the fun rides with the children before the amusement park closed for the day. I'm so happy, Orissa squealed while they were on the Ferris wheel. Seeing that, all 6 children dissolved into laughter. Thereafter, they imitated her and shouted at the night sky. I'm so happy, we're so happy. Benjamin looked at the woman with a burning gaze. She's having even more fun than the kids. Sensing his gaze, Orissa turned to him, only to feel a warmth on her lips as the man kissed her. Thump, thump. In a flash, her heart began racing.